Hey guys, it's Jane. It's Friday today, so I'm here to try and do a really super quick Friday reads. Next Friday's Christmas, so I almost certainly won't be doing one that day unless something very strange happens. So this is the last you're going to see of my smiling face for a little while. Hopefully in the week after Christmas I'll get myself in gear and come back and do a year overview or some of my favourite books of the year. Let's just say that. I've read a little bit this week, so let me tell you about it. The first thing I finished was The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater, which is the second of the Raven Boy books. And I didn't enjoy it quite as much as the first volume. It's a little bit more YA. There's a little bit of more romantic tension. And some of that stuff I can find a bit trying. Not too bad in this one because I've come to actually care about the characters. So again, there's more mysteries being revealed, especially about a different one of the Raven Boys in this book than is focused on in the first book. We're getting a little bit closer to finding the goal of the quest that the big overarching mystery is about. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to rush into book 3. Book 4, which is going to be the final volume, I understand, is out in April. So I think I'll save up book 3 and read it when I can then finish the cycle with book 4 a bit later next year. After I finished The Dream Thieves, I read a couple of things quickly. I read The Fix by Nick Earls. Nick Earls is an Australian author who writes kind of bloke lit. It's a very similar sort of thing to kind of chick lit, only he's a male author and he has male protagonists. Almost all of his are set in Australia. This is no exception. It's a 20-something guy who spent a bit of time abroad, but he lost his job in the wash-up of the global financial crisis. He's had to come back to Brisbane with his tail between his legs. His successful older brother, who runs a PR firm, is convinced by their father to throw him a bone, and so takes him on for a one-off job as a tryer. And he agrees to this work because he doesn't have any money and his oven is broken. He agrees to this work pretty much sight unseen, and then almost immediately before walking into the meeting with the client, discovers that the work is being the PR front person for a guy that he was at uni with and has a very complicated past with. This guy has done something and is about to be awarded a big bravery award in a big official ceremony, and there'll be media and stuff. And so our protagonist is being hired to be the media manager and whatever of this. But it's all more complicated than it first appears, both because of their complicated past, which involves, of course, a girl, and also because the actual events leading up to this award are more complicated than they first appear. So this was entertaining, sort of beach read type of thing, nothing too challenging. It's all set in and around Brisbane, so it's got a lot of local flavour for anybody who's up that way. And if you want to read a kind of bit of Australiana, modernish Australiana, it was entertaining. So that's The Fix by Nick Earls. I also read a crime book this week. I've been looking for a new series that I can get my hands on cheaply. My library has a whole bunch of the Inspector Montalbano books by Andrea Camilleri. These are originally Italian and they're in translation into English. And so I put my order in and I finally got the first one come through because I thought, if I do like them, then I've got a whole series that I can just read from the library, and wouldn't that be good? So the first one is called The Shape of Water, and the translator was Stephen Santarelli. It's set in southern Italy, sort of Mafiaville. Our inspector is kind of a good man who's in a difficult position because there's corruption everywhere and he's up against it. That's basically the sort of vibe of the book. This particular mystery, The Shape of Water, is a politician is found dead in what appears to be very compromising circumstances. The autopsy result comes back as natural causes, and so Inspector Montalbano is put under a lot of pressure to close the case quickly, but he wants to take a little bit more time and just look into the ins and outs, because even if it was a natural death, why was he in this place where his body was found? The mystery itself was good. The character is okay. The writing's entertaining. I don't think I will be continuing with this story because I didn't really enjoy it. And the reason why I really didn't enjoy it is there was just moments spattered throughout the book with some really dodgy sexual politics. And, some days I'd be happy to just, shrug that off. But at the end of the day, I decided I don't need it in my life. So I'm going to steer clear of that. But if that sort of thing doesn't bother you, or, you're more interested in finding out for yourself, it's a well-written mystery. And as I said, my library, there's lots of these. My library has them in a great big line, so maybe that would be something that you'd be interested in. I also have been making my way through Obernewtyn, which I talked about last week. I'm hopeless with paper books. Life has been a bit all over the place this last week. It's going to be like that till Christmas, but that's okay. It means that most of my reading is done at night in the dark. And so paper books don't get that great to go over. The first little bit was hard going, but once I got over the first couple of chapters, I really got into it again. It's a post-apocalyptic setting. You've got to remember that it was first published in 1987, and so, it hadn't been done to death at that point. Post-apocalyptic, it was a nuclear holocaust. Well, they don't say that, but that's pretty obvious that that's what it was. And in the aftermath, any child that's born with a deformity is killed at birth, and anybody who subsequently shows signs of having, strange qualities is labelled a misfit and very much becomes a second-class citizen. Our central character is a kind of 14-year-old girl who knows that she's a misfit. She just hasn't been found out yet at the opening of the story. She has strange sort of prophetic dreams. She can telepathically communicate with animals, and it has a few other qualities, and she's trying to avoid detection. That's where the story opens, and I'll let you know more of that as I am going. The other thing I'm in the middle of right at the moment is the George R.R. Martin collection of novellas called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm really enjoying it. I'm about a third of the way through. It's a collection of stories about a hedge knight called Dunk and his squire Egg. And Egg, it turns out, although Dunk did not initially know this, is actually a Targaryen who has run away from the palace, and they have adventures, basically. The whole thing is set 100 years prior to the opening of Game of Thrones. You're getting a little bit of taste of the history of the land and some backstory of some of the historic characters of the houses that we hear about in the Game of Thrones universe. So far, as I said, I'm a third of the way through. So far, it's not as dark as Game of Thrones. I mean, there's fight scenes and there's blood and whatever, but it's not as tortured. So I'm enjoying it. It's sufficiently light to be an enjoyable pre-Christmas read. It's also got beautiful illustrations throughout. I'm reading it on my e-reader, but I'm kind of actually sorry that I didn't get this one in paper, although of course I wouldn't be buying it. I got it on my e-reader from the library. But yeah, no, I'm really loving that. So guys, if you've read any of these books, I'd love to hear what you thought. I hope you all have a great Christmas if you are keeping Christmas, and if not, just have a lovely summer/winter wherever you are. And I won't see you next Friday, and I probably won't see you before, but I'll see you not too long after Christmas. Hope you're all well. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.